explicit call, second one is implicit call, and another type of initialization or invoking is by using this operator. The declaration of an object is followed by assignment operator, constructor name and argument enclosed in parentheses. Constructors are used to initialize data members of a class. This is the definition of a constructor. Students, welcome to CS classes. I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in computer science, Vidhyaashram PU College, Temple of Excellence, Mysore. Students, let us continue our discussion about constructor in this session 2. Now, invoking constructors. So, in previous example, we have seen an example where we have used different types of constructors and we have invoked or we have called all the different constructors. So, now let us see the definition of all these things. So, here a constructor is automatically invoked. This is automatically invoked by at the time of creation of an object. That is what you have seen in our previous example. So, here when we create an object of a class, so the constructors are automatically invoked. So, under this, it can be invoked through different methods. One of them is an explicit call, second one is implicit call, and another type of initialization or invoking is by using this operator, by using equals operator. So, these are the three methods where we can invoke constructors. Now, let us see what is this explicit call. Here, the declaration of an object is followed by assignment operator, constructor name and argument enclosed in parentheses. So, this is explicit call. Now, look at the syntax of that. Here, class name space obj, this is name of an object, equals to class name and argument list. So, this is what the definition here. And look at the example. Add is that add obj1. Add is name of a class, obj1 is an object, and add with the parameters or values 10 and 20. So, this is nothing but we are invoking the constructor explicitly or nothing but it is an explicit call. Next one is implicit call. See, another type of or method of invoking constructor is implicit call. So, here declaration of the object is followed by argument list enclosed in parentheses. So, this is a definition. Syntax, class name space object name and argument. Example, add is name of a class, obj is an object with the parameter. Now, if you observe these two syntax, so there is an explicit call, implicit call. So, there is a difference in the syntax and usage of these two methods. So, one is explicit call, second one is implicit call. These are the two methods of invoking constructors. Now, another method is initialization with equals operator. Now, declaration of the object is followed by assignment operator and value to be initialized. Look at the syntax of that. Class name space obj object name equals arg, nothing but argument. So, in this example, add is name of a class, obj is an object equals 10. So, you look at this syntax. So, this is another method of assigning values or initializing values using equals operator or nothing but assignment operator. Now, let us see an example program to display or usage of implicit and explicit call. The program starts with header file, class name, open the bracket, and this class ends here. This is end of a class. So, under that we have private, under that A, B, C are the variables, public values. This is the values, name of the class is values. So, values and inside that we have three parameters. Inside that we have three values. So a equal to x, b equal to y, c equal z. We are closing this constructor. So this is, as we have seen in our previous session, it is a parameterized constructor. Second one is one more, this is values. Again, it is a constructor with only one parameter in z. So again, values are these are the statements. We are closing this constructor here. Next one is void display. It is a function. This is we are displaying the values of a and b, and these are the statements, and we are closing the class here. This is the function display. It ends here. Next, after this, we are closing the class here. So this opening of a class, and class ends here with semicolon. Inside this, we have two constructors, one with one parameter, another with three parameters. Now, after closing the class, next one is we have to define, or we have to write main function. Inside that, as usually, the first step is to create an object of a particular class. So here, values space obj1 with values 10, 23, closing the bracket here. Values is name of a class. obj1 is name of an object. Object here with the parameter. So this is implicit call. Suppose if you write a statement like this in the void main or inside the main function, this means nothing but we are invoking the constructor implicitly, or it is implicit call. Then obj1 dot display, we are calling this function. Next one is values obj2 equals values, and these are the parameter or the values inside the parameter. So here this is explicit call, or we are another method of invoking object is explicit call, or we are invoking explicitly. And again obj2 dot display. Next one is values obj3 equals 40. So here value is a 40. So this is assigning values with this equals operator, or nothing but assignment operator. Then we are closing obj3 dot display and closing this function. So in this example, it shows the working of different types of constructors and implicit, explicit, and we are assigning the values through assignment operator. Now let us move on to next concept. This is constructor overloading. So in our previous lesson, we have discussed about function overloading. So what are function overloading? A function with the same name with different parameter list. So here the concept is constructor overloading. So you know what are constructors? So constructors are used to initialize data members of a class. This is the definition of a constructor. Depending on the requirement, one can define any number of overloaded constructor in a single class. So it is also possible to use more than one constructors depending on the problem or depending on the statements. Now, depending on the type and number of arguments passed, depending on the types and number of argument passed, the compiler decides which version of the constructor to invoke during object creation. So this is what we have seen in our previous examples. So if you use a default constructor and parameter constructor or copy constructor, any type of constructors, if you use in a program, those we have to call either implicitly or explicitly. So the compiler decides or invoke this particular function at the time of creation of an object. So this is constructor overloading. Now let us see an example, simple example to show the usage of constructor overloading. Now this is the program to find simple interest. The program starts with header file and class simple interest. Under this we have private variables PRTSI, under public simple interest. So here simple interest name of the class, and this is simple interest. So this is nothing but a constructor, and this is default constructors where there are no arguments or there are no parameters. Now similarly, now look at this one more constructor here, same name as that of class, and here there are three parameters. So these are the statements. So this is parameterized constructor. So this is default constructor, and second one is parameterized constructor. Next one is one more function, void compute SI. So this is the function where we are calculating simple interest with the formula PRT by 100. Then we are closing the function here. Next, closing the class with semicolon. So this is, so inside the class we have defined two constructors. One is default constructor, second one is parameterized constructor, and one more function is compute SI. Next one is we have to write the main function. On the main function, first step is to create an object of a particular class. So here simple interest is name of a class, and SI1 it is one object, and this is another object. There are two objects here. One SI1 is one object, SI2 is another object. Now next we have to call this function compute SI. So we are calling with SI2 dot compute SI. So this is, we are calling this function. Now the output would be, it gives the simple interest with the values given in the parameter. So this is an example program to show the constructor overloading. Here constructor overloading, look at this example here. In this one constructor, there is default constructor, one more is parameterized constructor. So this is, we can have more than one constructors in a class with different in their parameter list or type of the arguments. So this is the concept of constructor overloading. Now next concept is destructors. So we have learned so far about constructors. Next one is destructor. So what are destructors? A destructor is a special member function that will be executed automatically when the object of a class is destroyed. So this is the definition of a destructor. And look at the syntax of that. It is class, class name, and under this we have private data variables under member methods. Under public, we are defining a class, or we are defining constructor, class name, constructor, and we are defining or declaring a destructors with this symbol. So this indicates it is a destructor. Here this tilde followed by the same class name. So this is a destructor. So what is destructor? This is used to automatically when the object is destroyed. Here destructor, we are using this similarly with the class name, but with the preceded by a tilde. This is the symbol. It indicates a destructor. So this is a concept of destructors. Students, in this session, we have discussed about the constructor overloading and invoking constructors with implicit call and explicit call, and by using or initializing the values by using assignment operator equals. And also at last we discussed about destructor. We will continue my discussion in our next session. Thank you very much.